First of all, thank you very much for taking the time. And I guess everybody's in lockdown mode. So I'm Ricky Lee, co-founder of Altonomy. Today, I'm going to focus more on cryptocurrency itself instead of the underlying blockchain technology, right? Because I feel like I'll have more experience in that. We'll start first about what is the distributed consensus, right? And how is actually bringing value to the cryptocurrency. What is consensus in the blockchain world? So I send a Bitcoin to Bob. Bob sent a Bitcoin to another guy, right? These two transactions happens within the same block. And we're building the consensus on top of what, right? On top of open source C++ code that right now you can go ahead and find it on GitHub, right? Based on the distributed consensus that actually make it secure and stable, and everybody, and mathematically extremely difficult to hack, and economically not feasible to hack. Now we're talking about how that distributed consensus brings value to the cryptocurrency industry, right? Let's talk about value here, right? I'm very sick and tired of hearing, mainstream media says that, what is the value of Bitcoin? How do I value it, right? So here is it. So before we talk about the value of cryptocurrency, right, take a step back, really think about it, right? What is the value of currency? What's the value of a dollar, right? So why would I willing to exchange $1 for one apple? That piece of green paper doesn't really mean anything. It is actually the two features of the currency: exchange of goods, store of value, that actually determine the true value of the currency. So you're not really believing in dollar. You're actually believing in the consensus that the US government, or in this case, Federal Reserve. Of course, putting it side by side, what is the value of cryptocurrency or value of Bitcoin? It is precisely the same thing. If I'm a seller right now, I'm willing to sell one Bitcoin for $6,000 or 6,000 apples to a buyer. And the buyer believes that this Bitcoin is worth $6,000 or 6,000 apples and bananas. And both of us believes in that. And the transaction is going to be finished, on-chain, validated by this wonderful distributed system, distributed consensus system we just talked about, right? And then the value of the Bitcoin is right here in front of you, right? It serves the value of exchange of goods, immediate exchange, and it's also store of value. Regardless how volatile it is right now, it serves its purpose as a currency. It's a different consensus system. It is simply better than the traditional payment system, right? Let's view everything from a currency perspective, right? New monetary system, meaning that everything happens on-chain, right? Right now, you can basically go online, check the Bitcoin network, offers every single transaction from the very beginning of the Bitcoin main network launch until now, right? Think about that, right? That's actually equivalent of going to Federal Reserve's vault and trace back all the money they printed and right now still printing massively, right, into every single holder of the entire world economy, right? That's impossible to do. But in the Bitcoin network or any cryptocurrency network, it's pretty easy to do that, right? And second, it's much more efficient, right? I can send a Bitcoin to you within 2 minutes or 10 minutes out of block validation without any single intermediate, right? In the US dollar system or any other currency system, you have to go through banks, you have to go through payment providers, you have to go through multi-layers. And it costs you, some people did a rough estimate, it costs you more than 10 times more than the Bitcoin network or whatever electricity fees miners are paying to secure the network. And third of those is what I like the most, right? It does not rely on any country's credibility. We don't care if Federal Reserve is printing money right now, or we don't care if there is a currency, I would say, crisis in Argentina right now, right? We only care if there's enough miners in the Bitcoin network that's actually mining Bitcoin, secure the network, that secure the mathematically difficult, economically not feasible to break system. And lastly, it's fully transparent and dependable, as everybody can go ahead and download the GitHub and source code and figure out and run it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of hackers have tried many years try to hack this, but so far nobody succeeded, right? So because the design of it is simple enough to be able to withhold any all sort of hacks. I'm going to use an analogy to the internet industry. Something material really didn't happen is around the 1995, right? There are a few companies, awesome companies, the names that we keep hearing today, like Yahoo, Amazon, eBay, and then Yelp, Netflix, right? Google, and come into place around that time frame, right? But if you put cryptocurrency industry on the side as comparison, where are we, right? We are at 1995, literally. Why? The value of the industry. Like back in 1995, right? I was not ordering from Amazon, or I doubt anybody will. I mean, probably you guys here have not even, some of them were not even born yet, but I'll tell you as old people, right? I didn't do anything with Amazon back then. It was just a niche thing. People still believing I should buy books offline. I need to see the seller, or I need to read it, or I need to touch it, right? It was it was a challenge to a belief system that people were used to, right? But everybody knows the internet is doing something that actually nobody has done before, and it is pretty awesome system. That's where we are in terms of cryptocurrency, right? And blockchain. Well, everybody knows blockchain technology and cryptocurrency has some value in it. It's justified. A lot of people are allocating it, treating it as alternative asset class. And that question, even from the mainstream media, has already been validated and verified, right? A lot of the VC money, what we call it angel investors in the venture capitalists, are pouring money into different cryptocurrency firms, same way as they did in 1995 to fund, to actually fuel the technology innovation happened in internet company in 1995. A lot of VC, including Altonomy, we took some money, took millions of dollars from some of the VC guys to help us grow the firm, and same as a lot of many other entrepreneurs and my buddies that actually run the industry, they took money from the VC guys, right? Why? Because the VC guys think this industry is growing, and there's potentially another Google, another Amazon, or even probably even more in this industry in about a few years. And third, industry infrastructure is very bad right now, right? We didn't even have a decent futures exchange in 2018, right? And we had zero custodian of, I think, regulated custodian in 2017. We had about 30 of them I think in 2019. And also we did not have any brokerage. We did not have any insurance companies, but that actually industry infrastructure layer build out is happening as we're speaking. And lastly is that, even though everybody knows how awesome technology is and the cryptocurrency concept is, the user adoption is not happening. I would say apart from some decentralized applications like lending and borrowing, really there's no real adoption or massive adoption happens in the industry. Why? I know a lot of people have a big question mark regarding, nobody's using it, it's a piece of crap, it's something virtual, you create this value yourself. Same was internet in 1995. It's a natural course of industry evolution. It does not happen overnight, right? But what I believe, or what I observed in the past, I think 2 to 2.5 years working in the industry, right? Everything happens in the blockchain industry that actually is completely accelerated. And it actually follows the same path of evolution, but everything at a much faster pace. Why? Because we have entrepreneurs like me, like other professionals coming from traditional industry, knows how things should work, are coming together and building it. It's a discovery process, but it is happening much faster than any other industry in, I would say, evolution in the human history. Right. So that is what I believe in, and what I keep telling my team or anybody who interview with us, who wants to join us, like where we are, right? Very, very nascent stage of the industry. Still a lot of question mark from the outside world. But for people who believe into the distributed consensus system, believes in the value, and have observed, all these bullet points that I'm pointing out, you will get your own conclusion whether or not this is actually industry that's actually going forward.